Why don't we begin?
Report to set. Everyone ready? We hope you enjoy. Let's make this one count. And action.
This
is Fresh Hop Cinema.
good morrow, people of the internet, and welcome to Fresh Hop Cinema, a craft beer and film podcast based in Chico, California. My name is Max Minardi.
And I'm Johnny Summers. How are you out there?
I hope you guys are doing well. Johnny, before we get into the glorious content of this week, probably, hopefully, where can people find us on the internet, social media, that kind of stuff? Videos, if they're interested.
Oh, we have a YouTube channel now.
Start with that.
Yeah, that's exciting. We have 2 whole videos up there. The newest one we posted is our impromptu review outside of Burgers and Brew of Pliny the Younger.
It was a good time.
And our YouTube is the same as all of our others, correct?
Yeah, I think it's Fresh Hop Cinema Podcast, but
Okay.
if you type in youtube.com/Fresh Hop Cinema, I think you'll get there.
Yeah, if you just search Fresh Hop Cinema, just click on the channel that has our
It has
logo.
videos
You can't miss
also.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I found it. Pulled some up
Is that
on
right?
the TV. Thought it was pretty cool.
Nice,
Check
man.
those out. It looked good. So anyways, you can find us there. And then also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Untapped at Fresh Hop Cinema. Give us a search. Give us a follow. Give us lots of lovin's.
Yeah.
Also, patreon.com/Fresh Hop Cinema.
Yep.
We have a new member
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah.
Shout her out.
Shout out to Sophie. Thanks for joining. We'll get Patreon in a second, I guess, all the details. But Sophie, thanks for joining us. Sophie is a friend of mine for many years and wrote in after, I think, listening to our Rise of Skywalker episode where we also, I think you watched Drive, maybe, or I did, one of our favorites. And we just watched it again and talked about it. And she had a lot of really cool comments and insights, and we chatted for a little bit. So great to hear from you, Sophie. And also thanks for joining the family. Johnny, what is Patreon if other people want to join?
It is a interactive way that you can help make this podcast happen for as little as $1 a week, or up to as much as you want per week.
Yeah.
There's tiered membership. You get different awards at every tier. Everyone in Patreon gets bonus content that we record, usually while drunk, usually after the regular episode.
Probably fair.
So
yeah.
there's more exciting, spicy content in there, and it helps keep the wheels on this magical podcast machine from falling off.
Yes. In other regards of housekeeping, wanted to give a shout out to James Retker, who emailed us in about the movie that we sort of butchered in a sense, but I think also killed.
Oh, I think we nailed it.
It's for a handlebar commercial. We spoofed Gladiator, and James wrote in. So James, I think you guys have already chatted a little bit. I think, but $25 gift card to the Handlebar, all yours, my friend. And we will get that to you ASAP. Woo! Very lastly, before we get going, we got another email from friend of the show, Nick Land, who gave us a little bit of clarification on Heady Topper, a beer we reviewed last week, I believe. And I was saying that I was pouring it out into a glass, and that might be blasphemy because it says on the can, drink from the can.
Yeah, we both kind of said, we
Why?
don't know why that is.
So Nick said as far as he knew, it was because it's one of the flagship New England IPAs. So the idea was that the average consumer might be off-put seeing the haziness of that beer. So better not to see it and just drink it anyways. And at least that's how the legend goes.
Yeah, because there was, even when you poured it, a little bit of sediment.
Yeah.
And it could be, off-putting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different time though,
Yeah.
Like I think this is a lot more, now it's like, oh yeah, that's going to happen probably.
Yeah, and everybody wants to see the haze in the glass and take the picture of it glowing, like a brilliant smoothie. So
As long as it's not chunks of frozen beer that we pour into a glass and freak out about, then I'm fine with it.
we'll never live that down.
No, probably not. I've seen this beer that we're about to drink floating around before. I've never had it, but would you please let me know kind of what it is and where you got it and anything else you feel like I should know?
Yeah, so this beer is called Noble King. It's from Jester King out of Austin, Texas, and it is pretty exciting. This is a hoppy farmhouse ale. It's unfiltered, unpasteurized, bottle conditioned, and I really like some of their beers that I've had. They're usually known for like mixed fermentation, mixed cultures, a lot of sour stuff, a lot of really brilliant, bright, sour, interesting notes. They've been known to have some really cool adjuncts, different stuff. So some wild off the cuff beers. And there's actually a ton of information on the bottle. So I'm going to go to the bottle and read you a little bit about what they have to say. Says, not all kings are overbearing alpha types. Well, okay. In the real world, most probably are. And the truth be told, We're not especially into the whole monarchy thing anyway, but if we ever find ourselves transported to a mythical kingdom, we'd like for it to be one with a ruler who embraces the principles of subtlety, balance, and restraint, welcomes criticism and an intellectual challenge, and isn't afraid to laugh at his or her own expense.
What a thing.
Jester King is a 165-acre brewery, farm, tasting room, and restaurant located in the beautiful Texas Hill Country on the outskirts of Austin. They make food, drink, and fermented goods uniquely tied to a time, a place, and a people. This is from batch number 23, and it was put in this bottle in April 2019.
Oh, nice. We got some time on this thing.
Yeah, would you like to hear some of the ingredients?
I'd love that.
So this is a hoppy farmhouse ale with 5.3% volume alcohol. Ingredients include Hill Country well water, malted barley, malted wheat, hops, farmhouse yeast, native yeast, and souring bacteria from the Texas Hill Country.
Wow. All right. Well, you did almost all the information. You did way more than I had. The only thing I want to add is that on Beer Advocate, this thing has a rating of 88.
Nice.
Which is very great.
That is good. The notes on this beer, Noble King is a dry, unspiced, highly attenuated farmhouse ale, unique to our land in the Texas Hill Country. They're really emphasizing that Texas Hill Country.
Can I jump back to Nick for 1 second? He wrote in also saying technically he was from Texas.
Yeah, because we were asking last week.
That's very funny that you bring a Texan beer.
That is funny.
Fitting.
Yeah, and he is a Noble King.
Fair enough.
Native yeast and bacteria impart a sense of place to this unfiltered, unpasteurized, 100% bottle-conditioned beer. Store cool and upright. Refrigerate a minimum of 24 hours before opening, because you can store this warm. And this has been chilling out. I got this on a beer hunting adventure. This came from Curtis Park Market in Sacramento, California.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I challenged you by not giving you a bottle opener today. And I like how much you're preparing, because we've had situations where sometimes beers explode. It is not the wrong the worst way to put it, and this happens, and I really love how efficiently you're doing this. Get it in here, we're good. Okay,
easy money.
We got it. Yeah. Wow, that was really, really well handled, my friend.
Thank you. I am a professional.
I'm gonna just show it to our camera here. Look how it almost. Wow, you really handled that. That was great.
I'm a Cicerone certified beer server.
Indeed,
sir.
you are. This is one of those times where I'd be like, man, I wish we had a video for this, because like the time one popped off and cut your ear open.
That was awesome.
Oh gosh, I can't remember what beer that was, but I wish
it was
I could.
the one that was infected from Founders, the Curmudgeon's Better
It
Half.
was?
No,
I might have been. Who
I
knows?
don't remember.
That was one that just overflowed for sure.
I thought that one, it popped off super hard, bounced off the ceiling, and cut my ear, and
That's-
then overflowed, and
yeah,
it was just total chaos.
Well, this was not total chaos. I am a little bit. Oh, it's not total chaos.
It's not done yet.
I'm not so much a fan of this style, as you know.
Do you happen to have a bigger glass?
I actually don't. I have a candle, which won't help you too much. I have that if we need it.
Well, maybe possibly it's slowing down.
Well,
and
okay,
leveling off.
Then I'm gonna skip some of my vernacular foreplay and say, Johnny, taste this really quickly. Or taste it as slow as you want, but start tasting it now. Okay, again, Noble King, your first impressions as a Belgian farmhouse Saison style ale.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because here, have some more.
Yep.
I think you're probably wanting mostly foam, so that's what I'll give you. Just kidding, I'm giving you mostly beer. Okay,
no, that is quite nice. It's bright. It's crisp. It's really punchy. It's a lot more refreshing than I thought it was going to be.
I should let you know, I posted our Pliny the Younger review in the Facebook group, Chico Beer Enthusiasts, and somebody threw out a timestamp in a comment. They tagged a friend and said, whatever his name was, go to 54 seconds. And it was you saying the word crispy. Mm-hmm. And dude was like, oh, I knew I'm not the only person that says crispy. Like, it's such a good word to describe a very specific feeling or taste in a beer. What was that?
That was the rest of my cocktail that I poured into the ice chest, so I can make some room in here.
All right.
Don't want this overflowing. There. Now we should be fine.
Oh, that's tart.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Man, that's a bummer. I don't like it. I like it enough. I don't hate it, but
it's nice.
It's what I expected. In a sense, all the flavors that I'm always kind of scared of are definitely there.
No, it's nice. It's earthy. Mm-hmm. It's tangy. Mm-hmm. It's got
it's very puckery to me, though, too.
Little hoppiness on the back. See, I don't think this, for me, it's not that sour.
Really? Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like very back of the tongue, sort of like stabby to me.
Well, they say like different like strains of bacteria and different types of sourness. Like people taste differently. You know, some of them are on the tip of the tongue. Some of them are on the sides. Some of them hit you on the back. Some of them just hit you wrong.
Yeah, it's a bummer, too, because like I think this is one of those beers that I can easily acknowledge is very well made. Mm-hmm. Just a style that I don't like.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
what can you do?
Yeah.
Is there anything surprising you about this that you weren't expecting?
It's not as sour as I expected.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually nice and balanced. It's got a tang to it and a nice tartness, but it's not over the top. It really is well balanced with that
Yeah.
earthy, farmhousey, hoppy, all of the good things. So I like that because I don't like ones that are crazy too sour.
You know, I don't either. I don't mean to give off that vibe too. If I am like, it's not so puckery where you're just like it's hitting you right in the lymph nodes, but there is like a maybe tangy. That's right. You said tangy. I think that's true. How much was this?
I don't remember. It was like 16, 17, something like that. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
We're going to stop factoring in money, though. We should.
I just like to know because I mean, if people want to go out and get this beer, like know what to expect to
I think
spend.
we should talk about the price after we rate it.
Oh, that's
Because
fair.
like we
Okay.
don't really pay for the beers. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So it's like that shouldn't factor in the actual rating. We should judge it based on the liquid.
Okay, I agree. Yes, fair enough. I will not factor that in.
That being said, how much did you not like this liquid?
I didn't love it. You know, it's like a solid 5 for me.
That's still good. That's middle of the road.
Yeah, it's not a bad beer. And I'm gonna drink mine. I think it's tasty, and I'll help you finish this bottle. But there's just something about this style of beer that just kind of I would never grab it myself. You know.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think kind of the same thing. It's a style that I like trying more of. I think this beer's good chilled. I think I could stand it to be a little bit colder.
Yeah.
Yep. But overall, it's good. It's like a 6.4.
Yeah.
for me.
Okay.
Just because, like, kind of same as you, stylistically, it's not my personal favorite.
Sure.
It is good and it is drinkable, but yeah, not what I'm going to reach for regularly.
Yeah, I like how much this is going to contrast with the beer we're doing later in the show. Because I think that'll be, especially with the adjuncts in that beer, like it's going to be a really nice sort of full flavor spectrum today, which is always nice. Versus, I think it's kind of the reason we do this sometimes. Do separate styles versus kind of overloading the same one.
Yeah, I always want to do something light and something dark, or something sour and something sweet. You
Yeah.
know, it's fun. It gives a nice contrast, and it's like you're not really. I would not want to do a show where we just drank like 2 IPAs a week.
Or 2 Four Locos a week.
2 Four
Who
Locos
wants to
a
do
week.
that?
Nobody.
Not me.
Nobody does.
Wait, what did you rate this? I'm sorry. Did you yet?
6.4.
6.4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 6.4 for you. 5 for me. That's Noble King from Jester King out of Texas. Now, Johnny,
Yeah.
how much was it, more or less?
It was 17.
$17. Yeah.
But for the rarity factor, and if you're into this type of beer, like that's a steal.
Also, just for the label factor,
It's really
like
cool.
a very cool green lion.
Check our Instagram later
Sure.
this week.
There you go.
There's going to be some super sexy pictures of this bottle up there.
Yeah. Well, let's move right along to a film that we have been teasing for a couple weeks, a film that I've been trying to get to and promising that I would. It's called For Sama. It's a documentary. You watched it. It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature Film. And I, for some reason, I knew what this movie's about. Do you want to give me the quick synopsis of it?
Yeah, so essentially it's a journalist documenting the beginning of the 9-year war in Syria.
Still counting, I think.
which is the 9 and still going. Yeah,
Yep.
the essentially the fall and bombing by its government of the city of Aleppo in Syria.
Yeah, and it's filmed by a mother, a new mother.
Well, she wasn't a mother at the beginning, of the story.
Sure. But she was, wasn't she?
No, well, no.
She was just like a brand new baby. Like she was giving birth, perhaps.
No. In the movie, it starts out she has the kid, but then
Okay,
it
let me
goes
just say
back.
that I've only seen 30 minutes of this movie.
Okay.
Maybe I should give my backstory now.
Yeah.
I thought it would be an okay idea to watch this movie directly before we recorded today.
Yes.
And I started around 3 or about maybe 2:45, knowing we had to record at 4:30. And I got 30 minutes in, and this is the only disclaimer I will give for this movie because it's all I can give, is that it's very, very emotionally heavy. Which you might have guessed just by knowing that it's about a parent going through this conflict with their child.
Yeah.
So I only got that far, and because I was texting you, I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch this and be okay for recording because
Yeah.
it's so intense. But I do want to talk about your experience with it. You watched it a couple weeks ago. Walk me through maybe what I should expect when I do get around to it.
Yeah, so it's the story of she's this journalist, and she's documenting this whole series of events in her city falling, and she ends up volunteering at a hospital, and the whole movie is narrated by her in retrospect. She's narrating this movie to her child, Sama.
Right.
And she's kind of saying, this is why we did this. This was all for you. And then flashback to before she even knew Sama's father.
Yeah.
They actually met at the hospital. He was a doctor that worked there. and she was a journalist volunteering and documenting and stuff.
We should say she also directed it. Her name is Wad Al-Khatib.
Yeah.
She's credited there. I think rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff. Keep going. Sorry.
Absolutely. And so in their volunteering and moving from hospital to hospital, because at some point the government decided it'd be tactical to bomb hospitals.
Yep. And schools?
Target hospitals and schools to try and get people to leave, run away, or just inflict the most damage, whatever.
Yep.
So in going from hospital to hospital, they end up kind of falling for each other, get married, and have a child. And this child's name is Sama. And one of the central conflicts in her personal life in this 5-year span that this covers is whether or not they should leave Syria to make sure that Sama is safe, or they should stay there and help their people and document as much as they can. And her being a journalist and her husband being a doctor, like, they're not just people. Like, they're people that could make a difference.
They're superheroes.
And
essentially.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And she's someone that could give light to a struggle and give vision to things that people might not ever see. And there's some absolutely breathtaking scenes in this movie. Like, 100% will crush you or like uplift you in ways that you've never been uplifted. Like, it's the truest documentation of the human struggle in war that I've ever seen. And also it's one of the best documentaries giving the history of war through a woman's perspective, which
Yeah, I was
I
noticing
found
that too.
super fascinating.
Yeah, it's always like guys on the battlefield or generals kind of commanding. Like, you never really get this perspective.
Yeah, it's never just like a mom huddled, worried about her kid.
Yeah, there was one of the opening shots is you get this close up of baby Sama, and it's this really tender moment, and then I'm jumped.
Yeah.
There's like a mortar shell that was so loud and like shook the camera, and everybody freaked out. And I think at least the 30 minutes I watched, the pacing is like that. There's these intense moments of serenity and hope, and people just doing the best they can, and then it's just like, no, you're living through hell.
Yeah, you're in
Crazy.
a war zone.
Yeah. It's heavy stuff, man.
Yeah, and the whole movie was powerfully moving, but incredibly heavy and sorrowful, and it'll make you reevaluate your whole life and like anything you would ever complain about.
Right.
And yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it came out on July 26th of 2019. If you want to watch it, it's available for streaming on pbs.org. It runs an hour and 43 minutes. In addition to being nominated for an Academy Award, it received 4 nominations at the BAFTAs, which is the British equivalent of the Academy Awards, which is the most any documentary has ever received there, which is pretty cool. And it sounds like, I mean, I'm obviously going to go back and watch it, but definitely like a headspace warning for this one. Like, have some time to process. Don't like plan on going to your job. Maybe don't like watch this in the morning on your lunch break.
Yeah.
Like it'll get to your head. I think.
It is very much a war documentary.
Yeah.
So we watched this like middle of the day Saturday, and I like didn't know what to do with myself the rest of the day. Like kind of just wandered around, like lost, like contemplative, and just kind of, wow. It's crazy, man. It will make you think, and it's good for us to be exposed to things like this. I mean, for all the Hobbs and Shaws and the silly movies that we watch in the world, it's really nice to visit something like this and just catch a really interesting glimpse through someone else's perspective. And I think she's a great journalist. I think Wad is an absolutely amazing journalist, and she narrated the whole thing, sometimes in Syrian and sometimes in English, and it was a really enjoyable experience. Not enjoyable at the time, but I appreciate what it did for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was important to watch. It was one of those things, once you're into it, you're like, it's kind of like, in the 5 years after 9/11, like you watched a 9/11 doc every once in a while just to like, remember or whatever. But like movies like this, documentaries like this, I think are important to get outside your own perspective.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Again, that is For Sama. Check it out if you want. We'd love to hear what you think about it. We are going to jump to a break. No movie scene for Handlebar commercial this week. We'll get back to that next week. But again, good work, James. We're going to get you that gift card as soon as we can. When we come back, we are going to I say we go movie. Stick to format. Do you want to tease it, or we'll just come back with it?
We'll be back with the not Netflix original, but Netflix released.
Yeah, release. Yeah, it's fair.
Horse Girl.
And what that name means that I found out very recently. It's exciting and kind of weird. But we'll be right back.
All right.